Okay, the product is Pierre Paris. If you can understand that, wonderful. Okay. And here is our finished product. And this video is going to show you how we achieved this. Cutting around these intricate obstacles. Stay tuned and watch the video, and please click like. Can you stop right now and just click like? Thank you. This is Spencer Colgan, and welcome back to my channel. Cutting around intricate woodwork with Grasscloth. Two very significant challenges, but doable. So how do you do it? Let me show you the challenge. Before we get into it, you're going to need scissors. The smaller, the better. Let's see. This is a beautiful French manufactured pattern. Pierre. Okay. So we're doing Grasscloth. Now, Grasscloth is a product that will categorically be renowned for pasting the back of the product. Now, here's where, and I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, but I've learned. There's something that no one's going to tell you when you come to something like this. And you're not going to figure it out. So I'm just going to tell you. This is a lot of time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, what's going to happen with your product as you cut precisely around these obstacles? What do you think is going to happen if we paste the back? First of all, we need a drier paste because it's Grasscloth. If you use a moist paste, no doubt the moisture will come through and darken this pattern, and you'll keep your fingers crossed hoping that there won't be a stain when you're done. Having said that, you're going to use a drier paste. 2, you're going to need scissors, and I'm going to show you the technique when we get there. The folks in the UK have a very nice way to handle this. They use a pencil. I'll incorporate both if I remember the pencil. I like it a lot. And thirdly, we're going to alter the directions in order to make the product work for us. We're going to dry hang this piece. We're going to first spritz the product on the table to let the backing expand. And then while the paper is here expanding, we will put our paste on the wall, keeping in mind that we only have a certain amount of time to cut, but more time with pasting the wall. And we might even paste 90% of it and just paste the top with the brush, since that's going to be our time consumer. The point is this: we want to go as fast as we can without compromising the integrity of the wall covering by letting it oversaturate. Therefore, we have to come to some plan that incorporates the needs of this and the needs of our wallpaper to be wet enough to stick. And so we'll come to a happy medium. Let's get started. So it's moist. Okay? You see what I mean if you over wet it? See, this is just water, but if you over wet this with paste, you may not be so fortunate to get a stain out that may develop from the chemicals in paste sitting on the grass cloth itself. There's the backing, and of course this is our product. So anyway, we've rolled the wall with paste, and now we're going to get up there so that we can buy some time to get around these intricacies. Okay, so we cut our sheet down to 22 inches wide to make it more easy to handle as we're up here in this tight spot. And although it's great to have a helper, it's not always easy to find a helper. No exaggeration. I had a helper 2 weeks ago, the last time I had one. For some reason, he took the wallpaper, expensive stuff, and I told him I got 3 sheets from the roll. This is the number 1, 2, and 3 from left to right. I said paste number 1 first and bring it into me. He pastes number 1 and cuts it in half. I said, and I was very calm because I was ready to lose it. So I said, did you cut this? You told me. Then he stopped himself. He said, sorry. That was the last time he helped me. You told me. No exaggeration. I'm not leaving anything out of the story either. Cut it in half. Okay, so you can see why dry hanging this is pretty good. So we're isolating the issue to one of the 4 corners of the sheet, and you know what that is. It's up against the trim, which is there. While we take the time to put the rest in place, and that's what I'm going to do. I'll do it off video, and I'll come back up when I'm ready to start trimming around this, but I'm going to do it quickly. So I've trimmed it to get it out of your way. And so what you have is a bunch of what's called stress points. And all you have to do to cut this right is to relieve the wall covering at the stress point. I could have trimmed this a little better so that you're not looking at such a big overlap. But you'll get the point here. You'll get it. So I take my scissors. Now where I cut is so important. If I cut too far over here, I'm gonna wind up short. So go further than where you need to cut. See? Okay? And then we're gonna get a little closer to that radius there. That's a radius, see that? The point is that I want my wall covering to be trimmed far enough. What I mean by trim, I mean cutting it so that it falls easily into the curvature. Now, do you see this? That's the wetness, so you have to be very careful to use the right paste. That's going to dry. It was there too, you don't see it. But this is why you don't want it too wet, okay? In any wall covering, because this is going to take some time, especially videoing it. Okay, now we'll try the pencil technique. You see this? You see the curvature? How I'm kind of making it conform. Well, I know by this mark that I'm kind of making by making an impression here, I know that that is the point beyond which I cannot cut, right there. You see that? Because I've made it, I bent the paper, okay? See that? So we know that if I cut it with my scissors, that's the point at which I stop. So I go too far, I'll be down here. Okay, or if I'm from the school of wallpapering, I take my pencil and I make a mark, okay? But you know what? It's an extra step. I don't think I need a pencil mark. I made an impression. So you choose either way, or you can use both ways. Now, I want to make sure that I'm over far enough so I don't overcut. Okay? The more cuts you put in this, the better your wall covering is going to bend into position. Okay? So, oh, it's fitting nicely, right? And see, it's coming off the wall, so that means I haven't overdone it with the paste. I'm going to trim this a little better for you, and then we're going to do our final trims, okay? So I pushed my wall covering all the way into the corner, and I made a pencil mark. You can see it? See that mark right there? It's a pencil mark. I'm going to trim now along that pencil mark. Or you could achieve the same goal by simply cutting just up into about the point of the incision. Now, how did I achieve such incredibly good cuts? I'm going to try to show you now. So you can do it. The trick is trimming it up with sufficient cut lines. Not going too far. See, if we go too far here, we'll be outside of the curve. We're just at the curvature right there. But we have to be right at the curvature. You have to get it right at the point at which you can cut, because then you'll have it sticking out. So let's see how we do it. Now, the first rule is never cut these intricate areas like this. Never dragging the blade. What you're going to do is choose the position from which you'll begin your trim. For me, I'm a lefty, I'm going to trim this way. Now, this is a luxury, what I'm doing. I'm cutting, but guess what? I have to stop, because if I continue, I'm going to slide and cut the rest of it. So, protecting the edge of the wallpaper, I put my smoother right up against the curvature, and watch this. I rock the blade, and I literally, if you're looking on a microscope, I'm chopping the wall covering. I'm chopping it. I am not pulling that blade. I'm simply chopping with a chopping motion. I mean, what else can you describe it as, right? You're pivoting that blade that's sharp enough to cut through the wall covering. Let's see. Let's see how I did. So that is the trick. Lots of patience. Listen, I don't care if you don't have experience doing this. You can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. And you probably, you might be able to do it better than a professional. You might. Some of you folks have a lot of patience. Okay? And I'm here to tell you, can I be honest with you folks? You know who taught me how to wallpaper? A homeless guy. The man, I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's see the rest of this up close. So we have the rest of this, right? Now here's what I suggest that we do. We can do this a couple of ways. One, just push your blade in there, make some impressions, okay? Because these impressions are visible on the other side and they form a very nice line on which you can make your cut. Now here's a little secret. Cut it with like 1/8 of an inch leeway. Let's turn it over. If we turn it over, we have a nice impression that we've made. See the bend? And we can now trim against that, favoring 1/8 of an inch so that we can make our final trim with the blade. Now, we're almost perfect here. Okay, let's get some paste in there. Make it sticky, mush it. Make sure that you got enough paste, and let's go for it. You see, when you're cutting on a curvature, your line changes. You might think you're cutting it straight, while you're forgetting that you didn't take into account for the angle change, and then you cut it short. That's why these stress relieving cuts that I'm doing right here are very important. It'll make your wall covering conform truly against the real cut line, instead of you imagining the cut line. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. I think we can do the rest by rocking the blade. Not easy, folks. I should say time consuming, you know? Time consuming. I'm just cutting the threads by doing this. I'm making the wall covering weaker so that it doesn't resist the final stroke of the blade. Okay. If you're new to paper hanging and you're a contractor, when you see something like this, you have to take into account your time. You could really lose a lot of time on something like this. See that perfect cut there? All right. Down. See, there's really no tool that's going to get you in there. I tell you what, I'd like to know how Dan Childs does it. Now that's a guy that knows what he's doing. Again, we're going to try to penetrate it like this. And if you make a little mistake, don't give up, because you can always pull the wallpaper 1/8 of an inch, even 3/16 to get your wallpaper back up to the crown, you know? Now, let me see if I can trim that. What do you think so far? Just kind of pulling at it just to see what I've cut just by going like this. Okay. Let me trim the rest with a scissor, and show you the final product. Hope you like it. What do you think? If you like the video, click on like. Just hit the like button and make a comment. Nice, I don't like it, I can't stand you, whatever. Just say something. Thank you.